Because we are created in a way that we cannot just go. Eventually, we're just going to fall out. And so, God said, keep the Sabbath and don't do any work on the Sabbath because we need that. The third reason why I think God said, keep the Sabbath, don't do anything on the Sabbath, is because I think that's a way of God getting our attention. That if we just stop for a day, if we just stop, it's okay. If I were to not show up next week, it would be okay. You guys would keep doing your thing. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, if I were to die tomorrow, my wife would be affected, my kids would be affected, but the vast majority of the people in this room, you guys would just kind of keep on keeping on. Because I'm not as important as I think I am. I'm really not. And when we stop for a day, see that's the thing, is that we don't want to stop for a day because we think that we're that important, that if we stop, it's just all going to crumble. Like we're the ones holding it together. Y'all, we're not holding it together. We're really not. We're not holding it together at all. When my dad was killed 13 years ago, he had 2 businesses, he had 2 houses. He just sold his airplane, but he had 2 businesses and 2 houses. And guess what? When he died, life just kind of kept happening. Those businesses were shut down for a week, right back reopened. We sold the houses. We sold one of the businesses. Just this week, we got another business leased out. It keeps going. Just because he's no longer living doesn't mean that the world stops. Just because I take a break for a day doesn't mean that it's going to stop. Yet we think that. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, we think that. I got too much to do. I got this person to call. I got bills to pay. I got this to do and this to do. I can't stop. I can't take a nap. I can't relax with my family. I got to cut the grass. I got to go into work late. It's okay. It's okay. Chill. The simple fact of the matter is that God is the only one that if He were to actually stop holding things together, that things would actually fall apart. If we stop holding things together, most of us wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. In fact, the very next day when we wake up, we'd probably be in a better mood and life would probably be a little better. To take a football analogy, sometimes you just got to punt the football. And it's okay to punt the football. I was watching the Georgia and Tennessee game as I'm laying on the couch and my daughter is jumping up and down on me and I'm begging her not to because my neck is hurting so bad. I'm watching the Georgia-Tennessee game and something I'd never seen before in a football game, Georgia had about 4 or 5 plays where they had consecutive penalties. So on second down, you football players, see if you ever experienced this, on second down it was 2nd and 56. At that point, I would have just punted the football. Let's just, you know what? We'll just start all over next round. But they didn't. They continued to run the ball, and I think it ended up being 4th and 56. But there's times when we just need to stop and just punt and say, you know what? I'll pick it up tomorrow. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I'm good. It doesn't matter. I'm not that important. I think if we get it in our minds that we're not that important, I think that our lives would actually be a lot better. Now, here's the flip side of that. I'm not that important because God is. That's the flip side. If you just walk out of here saying, Rusty said I'm not that important. Rusty said that nobody matters, or that I don't matter to anybody. What I'm saying is, I'm not that important because God is that important. You're not that important because God is that important. What I'm saying is that if I were to stop holding things together, it's all a facade that I'm thinking that I'm holding things together, that nothing would change because God is there holding things together. It's not that the simple fact that I'm not that important. The real truth of the matter is that God is that important. The real truth of the matter is I don't need to worry about things. I need to pray about things. The truth of the matter is, if God is a living God, like we talked about last week, if Jesus is truly alive, if Jesus truly hears my prayers, I need to pray about a lot of stuff I'm not praying about. My attitude needs to change a whole lot. I need to stop worrying about things and start praying about things. Because I'm convinced that I'm not that important, but I'm also convinced that God is that important. I'm convinced that I'm not really in control, but I'm convinced that God is in control. And so if I begin to live that way, I'm not going to stress out about my bank account as much. I'm not going to stress out about my kids and their future. My son is 18 months old, or I guess now he's 20 months old, but about a year and a half old. And I'm scared to death he's going to end up like me. Which means he's going to be just chaos in about 15 years. And he is going to give his mother a heart attack in about 15 years. But I can't be concerned about that. I need to pray about that. I can't be concerned about job situations. I need to pray about that. I can't be concerned about health situations. I need to pray about that. I think that if our attitude was that it's not about me, it's about God, and therefore I'm going to pray about it more, therefore I'm going to ask other people to pray about it more. And y'all, I struggle with that because for me, hey, listen, I have trouble delegating things. There's a reason why I was running around this morning and getting pumpkins and getting everything together is because I just kind of forgot to delegate this morning. It just kind of happens. Sometimes I'm a bad delegator. Sometimes I just simply forget. And I think in my personal life, there's things that I forget to delegate. And when it comes to God, there's something that we need to delegate. It's called life. We need to delegate everything to God. Because Jesus says He wants us to delegate to Him. He wants us to cast our cares upon Him. But we don't do that. In our culture, we have the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. And so therefore, we struggle with even praying to God about things. Because it's like, God, I'm going to pray for you about the big things, but the little things, the day-to-day things, I can take care of that. When God says, no. I want to take care of the day-to-day things. I want to take care of the little things. If your child is having issues in school, I want to take care of that. If you're having an argument with somebody, I want to take care of that. And I'm still learning about that. And I hope that someday I get to the place where I can completely delegate life to God. But many, many times I'm still saying, Lord, if you'll just take care of this, I'll take care of this. Like we're gonna be a team here. I think I need to pray about my ice maker. Maybe I need to call God instead of calling the repairman. I'm not God. I want you to walk out of here saying, I'm not God. Not that Rusty's not God, but that you're not God. That I'm not God. If you remember one thing, remember I'm not God. Because we believe that we are. That's the fallacy of the church in America. We believe that we are. I mean, even though like our theology and even though our beliefs are, pull up any web page, I seriously doubt you're going to go to a web page and it's going to say beliefs. Number 1, we are God. It's probably not going to say that, but if you look at how we live as though we're God. When God is saying, be still. Be still. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that God is God. Be still and know that God is in control. Be still and know that God is watching. Be still and know that God cares. Be still and know that God is on your side. Be still. I think if we can just simply be still and know that God is God, if we can actually believe that, not just say it, but really believe it, if we truly believe it, then I think we're going to pray that way. And if we pray that way, I think we're going to see God move in an entirely different way than we've seen before. I think we will. I think we will. I mean, praying for crazy things. Like, Lord, I'm running out of gas. I don't have money for gas. Can you just let this gas tank take me a little further? Pray for crazy things, man. Test God. One of the great things that, if you were at the Impact dinner, one of the great things about Fadi's testimony is that Fadi was, for those of you that don't know, Fadi was a